Kisuke Takamura was a man with a big heart, raising his son alone. One day, when he found a lost girl in the forest, he decided to take care of her as if she were his own daughter. And so, Aishi grew up surrounded by an adoptive family, mainly under the watchful eye of her older stepbrother, who, as the years passed, began to see her differently. Not as a sister, but as a woman. One must consider the realities of that time. Aishi was the only young and attractive girl in the area, and Ichiro, a growing young man, felt a deep need to be with her. A feeling blossomed, one that made Aishi feel complete for the first time in her life. He was her senpai. Kisuke strongly opposed their relationship. He saw it as something terribly disgusting. However, his anger didn't last long. Aishi didn't know what had come over her. She had never killed a human before. All those emotions were new, strange, and pleasurable. Aishi had 3 daughters, Takea, Kamay, and Waraha. Each was completely different in personality, but they all shared one thing: a deep inner emptiness and resentment toward the world. This was felt most strongly by Waraha, the youngest and weakest of the sisters. Unlike the others, she gave up from the very start, accepting that she would never be happy. She was afraid of the world and barely left the farm, spending her days sitting under trees, writing poetry, or drawing. These were her ways of coping with the emptiness that never truly went away. Waraha remained alone her entire life. Kamay, in an effort to dull her emptiness, spent all her free time doing intense physical labor on the farm. No task was too hard for her. She was independent and stubborn. Takea, the oldest sibling, found her calling in crafting everyday accessories from bamboo. Her creations were admired, and this inspired her to leave the family home in hopes of a better future. She wore her finest kimono and set off into the world to sell her work. From time to time, a young man named Jiro would visit the farm on behalf of his higher-class parents to buy crops. The families had maintained private trade relations for years, mostly focused on exchange. It didn't take long before Kamay fell in love with him. But love, for her, became a torment. She couldn't concentrate. Her productivity dropped. At first, she felt ill, almost poisoned by the man's charm. She had to be near him. She had to make him stay by her side no matter what. But Jiro wasn't interested in her. His eyes were on another sister. Waraha had no interest in interacting with outsiders, but her inaccessibility only drew Jiro to her more, like a magnet. Kamay decided to use this to her advantage. She didn't want to hurt her sister. Even though they didn't show affection, they still loved each other in their own strange way. So Kamay wrote a letter pretending to be from Waraha, which she handed to Jiro during his next visit. The letter asked him to meet late in the evening. That night, Kamay dressed in her sister's clothes and approached him, pretending to be Waraha. By morning, Jiro realized the deception, but it was already too late. Kamay was pregnant. This forced an arranged marriage despite the young man's objections. Ultimately, under threat of being disowned by his family, and to avoid bringing shame to his relatives, Jiro agreed to the wedding. And so, he remained trapped in a forced relationship for the rest of his life.